Hello there, I'm Karen Antara, and I'm here with my December energy report. I'm actually filming it early. It's the 26th of November, but I really feel the energy's here. Everything is moving so quickly right now. I just thought I would jump right in and do it. So here we go. This is the energy that I see coming up. And I've also called this video, How to Ride the Wave to Higher Consciousness into the New Earth Timeline. Now, I can't help but feel really excited about what is happening for us as a people, as humanity, because I'm really very much aligned to that New Earth timeline. I can see the potentials that are there for us, all of us, potentially. It's very beautiful, and I hope that you are on that wave with me. It would be great if we could get to experience that together. But I am not unaware to the fact that some people are in hardship. There are some extremely difficult times coming for many people. I'm very much aware of that. So what I'm seeing here is not a bifurcation. People are talking about a bifurcation. I see it very clearly as a trifurcation. I'm seeing three very clear timeline potentials, or pathways, if you like, that we can choose to align ourselves to. Remember that the power is always with us. So we know that where you place your attention, your focus, your energy, you're engaging with that, and more of that is going to come back at you. This is why we say, if you have the energy of gratitude and abundance, and you are aligned to everything that is of abundance, that you will attract more of that back to you. Okay, that's kind of what we say. But the opposite is also true as well. If you're focused on lack and scarcity and hardship, you're going to be aligning more to that, and you will experience more of that as well. So we have to be really careful where we place our attention, what we focus on, because we're going to be going there right into it to experience more of it. Now, the interesting thing is, though, that we're often drawn to these places, spaces, experiences, because there's something in us that can only be healed by going into that. So, we could say, I'm not going to look at that anymore. I'm not going to look at that because I find it disturbing. But maybe you actually need to go into it to work through something and heal it. Because sometimes in that is your healing work, is your shadow work. And, turning away, sticking your head in the sand is like ignoring it. So sometimes we got to go in these dark and uncomfortable places because something is ready to come up within us so that we can heal it, clear it, and then move on into a higher vibrational experience, into a higher timeline. So I'm not saying ignore everything, but I'm saying that if you're putting your attention into, let's say, something like the US elections and the politics, or even here in Australia, the politics of what's going on, if you're going heavily into that and feeling disturbed and traumatized by it, you have to then really look at that and say, okay, what is my part in this? Is there something within me that could be triggered by me engaging and focusing with this, so that triggers within me so that I can heal it and clear it and move on? Or is there some kind of ego attraction to being heavily involved in that? Is it a case of, well, I want to know all about this and I'm really engaged in it and I'm a truth speaker and I'm a this and I'm a that, because that's kind of like an ego need as well. So it's really important that when you feel an attraction to certain things, that you actually sit with it and go, okay, what is my part in this? Now, there are truth speakers. A lot of my clients really are leaders for the New Earth. And so they're engaged in really exploring the depths of some of this stuff, not to traumatize themselves over and over again, but because they've come here to have a part in clearing up these old broken systems and bringing us into a new level of consciousness and awareness around that system. So, there can be reasons why we delve into things, But we also have to be aware that a lot of it is put out there, on social media and things like that to attract us in, to get us hooked in to a timeline, which I'm calling transhumanism or metaverse timeline. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Now, we don't want to be going into places that is going to traumatize us and make us very anxious, unless we know for sure there's something I've got to look at here. So we need to become aware of the effect that everything is having upon us. There's a lot of movies that literally I would put on and watch the first minute and a half of, and I can feel the frequency of them, and I'm like, no, I'm out. Even if it's a movie that everyone is saying, oh, it's brilliant, you've got to watch it. I'm really aware of feeling into it and going, no, that's not for me. I found that I can't watch very active movies in an evening because I can't sleep at night. But I can watch them earlier on in the day because then the energy can kind of dissipate from my body before I go to bed at night. And this is all the kind of energy awareness things that I would like to help you with if I can, because it makes to a much more peaceful life. And in that, you can actually raise your vibration more because you're not constantly stressed by the things that you're taking in from the external world. So these are all things that we can learn to become aware of. So if you are engaging with something that makes you feel stressed on the inside, sit with that and say, okay, do I really need to be here engaging in this? Is there some healing that I can do around this? Because it's true as well that, you could be involved in something, your friend, your neighbor, your partner, a business colleague, you could all be really focused on something, let's say some political situation, right? You could all be looking at all the information around that. And maybe you're the only one that's getting really stressed by it. Maybe everyone else is fine with it. And that's because we all have traumas in our body. We all have emotional wounds, maybe healing work to be done within our body. And it could be that there's something in that information that you're looking at that is a perfect vibrational match to a trauma that you're holding. Now, you could use that and say, wow, okay, it's bringing up all this stuff inside of me that's unrelated to that, but it's old memory stuff from childhood or something. Could even be past life. But, it's bringing up this trigger, right? And then you can go, wow, okay, so it was purposeful that I looked at that stuff because now I know I have this unhealed something within me. Let me go into that unhealed part of me so that I can heal it, clear it, and then I can move on. And usually when you do that work, that original thing that you were engaged in has lost its resonance for you now because it was only about a vibrational trigger to get you to do that work. In that respect, it's really purposeful. But if it's causing you stress and anxiety and you can't find a trigger within you of something that could be healed, like, why would you do that to yourself? It's like sticking your finger in a light socket for no benefit, So this is the things we have to be really careful where we place our attention, what we're focusing on, and make sure that it's really purposeful, not just a waste of time and stressing us. When we identify what it is, when we can clear it and heal it, that's really when you get to ride on that higher consciousness wave. That's when you're really doing your inner healing work, the real work, the shadow work inside of you. And this isn't just the, having activation meditation sessions or, sitting in spiritual circles and doing stuff. This is the real inner work that can be emotionally painful to go through that work. But it's vital because that's the heaviness that's in your body that is holding you heavy and down rather than allowing you kind of onto that ascension timeline, raising your frequency. So it's really important that you do that work for sure. And that's the higher timeline that we really want to be aligning to so that we get to experience that new earth. Now, I've been talking about 3 timeline potentials for many years already. And what I'm seeing now, over the last maybe 5 or 6 months, is a massive speeding up of that choice point moment where we really have to decide where we are in all of this. And then that is going to lead us into our next life experience, let's say. Now, it's not that the new earth is suddenly going to land here on this planet and everything instantly transforms. No, of course, there is a process of breaking down the old, rebuilding the new, and that's part of the turmoil that we're all feeling at the moment. Systems are breaking down, health, the health system, political system, the legal system, the banking system, everything is in this state of flux and turmoil, and that makes people feel very unsafe. But we have to break that down so that we can build the new. Now, there comes a choice point in this, though. And at that time, the timeline that you are energetically aligned to will dictate what you have as your next lot of life experiences going forward. And we're at that point, and I don't know exactly when this is going to occur, but it would be like you're aligning to something and suddenly there is no chance to jump off of that timeline and onto another one. It's almost like, well, this is the choice point, and sorry, you're on that one now. You have the opportunity for the others, but you didn't take that opportunity, and this is where you sit now. This is it. That time is coming. I don't know when it will be. And in all fairness, I think I remember saying this to students in my classes 15 or 20 years ago. Do your work now, because the time will come where you can't just jump onto a different timeline. And so, I'm really encouraging you, yet again, do your work so that you get onto the timeline that you want to experience. Now, for those on the highest timeline, when that, breaking point, choice point happens, it will be a relief, because what we've been doing maybe for 20 years, because I said there's going to be a time where you get no choice, you're on it and that's it. If you've been doing your work all that time, trying to hold the light, I say, it's an expression, trying to hold your light through the last years of turmoil when everyone said, oh, you're wasting your time, or I don't know, maybe you're a conspiracy theorist or whatever it was that they said. And there you are trying to hold your light, trying to hold your frequency high, trying to hold your vibration, doing all of this. If you've been doing that for a really long time, and then the choice point comes and it's like, well, that's it. You're on that timeline now. We are going to go, oh, thank goodness for that. Finally, I'm planted on this higher reality experience. And I can't go back. I'm not going to fall off of this timeline now, because we did it. We're there and we're sailing. And this is why I called this video, How to Ride the Wave to the Higher Consciousness and the New Earth, because I'm seeing that coming now. But for other people, that moment of shift, I think it could be heartbreaking, to be honest with you. Because they'll realise that they are not really where they wanted to be, and there'll be no way to shift. So think of it like this. Imagine that you're running for a train, okay? Maybe 3 trains. Let's say that there's 3 trains in the station. This is the one to the New Earth higher timeline. That's the one you want to be on. And there you are, legging it down the station. Maybe you've let go of all your baggage so that you can be lighter and you can run faster, right? but you're running and you're running and you just see that train pulling out the station and you're not on it. And it's like, damn it. Why didn't I get on to my stuff sooner? Why didn't I let go of that heavy baggage earlier? I could have got there. Now imagine if that's you and you're seeing that higher timeline train experience pulling out the station and you've missed it. That's going to be heartbreaking. I don't want you to have that experience. It's like if you've ever had to run for a plane, to get on the plane, you've only got hand luggage, you haven't even got bags to check or nothing, you've got hand luggage, and you get to the gate and they go, sorry, you're too late. The gate is closed. That is freaking heartbreaking as well. I don't want you to be the one that misses the train, misses the flight. I don't want you to be stuck. And so that's where we are right now. As I say, I haven't got a date for this. I don't know when the train is pulling out, but I know that we're in this bifurcation, trifurcation of energy levels, and I don't want you to be on the wrong timeline level. So let's imagine then that you missed your train or your plane or your boat. Missed the boat is another expression. Where are you stuck? Well, you're stuck here on this 3D Earth, which will become a descending planet. How long are you stuck here for? Well, you'll be here until the next ascension cycle comes to completion, and you may get the opportunity then to get into that new Earth timeline again then, 26,500 years timeline cycle. Now, you're going to die here because we all die. Let's be honest. No matter where you're going to be, whatever timeline you're on, your body will drop, but your consciousness continues to exist always, of course. So if you're here stuck, in inverted commas, on this 3D Earth timeline, you will die, you will reincarnate. You will die, you will reincarnate, because that's what we've all done for the last 26,500 years, right? So, okay, I've done this before. I'm not where I really wanted to be, but life goes on, and you will go on, and you will continue on, and this will be the process. There won't be any progression on this 3D planet because it's no longer an ascending planet. So you will go through a period of time that is like the Dark Ages again. There'll be no consciousness, and then hopefully we'll come round to that time where people start to wake up and we start to evolve, and this is kind of where we've got to now, right? But why would you stay and do all that again if you could actually get onto a higher consciousness timeline, which is going to feel a lot better, I think, in my personal opinion. So I'm going to say that if you're listening to this, if you follow my work, then you are already aware that you have a choice. You're not helpless in that. If you've been listening to me rattling on for years, some of you for 25 years have been listening to me, or 30 nearly, you know you have a choice. And therefore, I'm going to encourage you to get your inner work done. But actually, my question to you is, are you really doing the inner work now that you know you need to do, so that you can align to that higher timeline, and so that you don't miss the boat, miss the plane, miss the train, and get left behind? Because I don't want to see you left behind. If you know that what I'm saying is resonating with some level of truth within you, then I would say, please step up, get on with the work. Come and join some of my courses or programs, or have sessions with me, or whatever it is, because all of my work is specifically designed to clear and heal some of the heaviness, the things that's holding you back, so that you can raise your frequency, shift your consciousness, and get onto that higher timeline experience that we all want to be on, really, let's be honest. So I said 3 timelines, right? The higher timeline to the new Earth. Let's go there together, preferably. Then there's the lower timeline. I've just explained that, on the descending planet 3D Earth, where you're going to have a long wait until you can be at this most exciting and critical time. Again, 26,500 years ascension cycle timeline. So I want to talk about the transhumanism timeline. Also, we could call it the meta timeline. And that is a whole false reality. Well, it's another false reality matrix, really. So we are 3D people that don't want to wake up in this ascension cycle. Those that wanted to, but really didn't commit to themselves enough to actually focus on what they needed to do. There's the 3D people that are going to go round again. And then there are the metaverse, the transhumanism people that are full on into that whole AI thing, the technology, the microchips, you know, so then you can wave your hand. You don't even have to have a credit card or even your phone. You just wave your hand. It's all wired into the body, connected into the hive mind, which is now beaming frequency directly into your brain because you've got all of the graphene oxide stuff in your body and you're wired into the metaverse, right? Sometimes I see on videos, like on Instagram or whatever, people with the virtual reality glasses, and they're doing the most ridiculous things. Like they forget that they are stood in their lounge room, for example, right? Or on the edge of a main road, and they're so engaged in the visuals and the experience of what is in this virtual reality thing that they're literally crashing into their TV screens, walking into main roads, you know, kicking the dog, whatever it is that they're doing, because they're so engaged into this metaverse that's in the virtual reality glasses. And that's the false reality that I'm seeing people go into. Like, we know there's contact lenses and glasses that you can get now where you can walk down the street, you can see everything that's there, but you've got another reality coming up inside. I've even seen it where you can look at a person and you get the full identification of them. Oh, this is Jane Smith. She's married to John. They have 3 children, you know. And so people are getting that inside their glasses or inside their contact lenses. So they're in a split reality, walking in this 3D Earth, in this other virtual reality. Honestly, I'm going to drop the F-bomb now and say that is a complete headfuck. And no wonder their consciousness is split. Because not only that, where's their soul consciousness? They're so invested in this metaverse. So we're going to see people that are right in there, their soul consciousness, they don't even, you know, connect to that anymore. So basically they're empty vessels. Now I'm going to get a little bit weird and woo here because I can. And I'm going to say, I have seen ET, 4th dimensional ET consciousness come in to inhabit those empty vessels. They're a physical human body, but the consciousness is gone because the person got so engaged in an artificial reality that the consciousness is gone. The ET consciousness steps in. I know that's wild, but I've seen it for, I think about 20 years ago I saw that vision, and I know it's possible to happen because they are already downloading other people's consciousness into other people's bodies. So it's not a stretch of the imagination when you know that that stuff's going on. That's not what I would want to choose for my body either. So, but some people, you know, are so seduced by technology and they can't put these pieces together. That actually brings me to another note. Cognitive dissonance. I'm seeing it at a whole new level lately. Even amongst the people that woke up to that whole agenda that played out kind of from 2020 onwards, right? So they didn't succumb to any of that business there. And they call themselves awake. And they are awake to that level. But there are so many other levels at play here. And so they're awake to that. They're aware of the dangers of that. They didn't go there. And yet they're so fully plugged into the false ascension timeline, or the New Age deception, I've called it as well in the past, because I've been talking about this false New Age stuff for years as well. And what I'm seeing is people thinking that they're awake because they saw through the 2020 thing, and now they think they're awake, but they've plugged into their spirituality, which of course is the next level of awakening, which is why they created the New Age false ascension timeline. So people have moved into that one now. Maybe I should have said 4 timeline realities. But anyway, people are plugged into that one. Now, I know that what I see, I'm usually years ahead. So I've been talking about this for a long time, but I can tell you that I'm seeing it kind of come. It's almost like it's all collapsing into this now moment now. So it's all happening now. And we really haven't got the time to delay on that anymore. I think, to be honest, you would be foolish if you say, oh, she's talking about something that's going to happen in 20 years. No, I've been talking already for 20 years. Now is the point that it's actually coming together and happening. So if you didn't heed the warnings all of the times back then and get yourself off false ascension timelines and do your inner work, then there's nothing I can do about that. I've talked about it. And when you think of all the conspiracy theories that we've talked about through all of these years, they've all come to pass. They've all come true. So you can't say that no one warned you about the false ascension, New Age deception timelines. They are there, they are real, and they are more real now probably than they ever were before. So what will you do with this information now? It's not meant to scare you. It's actually meant to empower you. Honestly, I've got your back. I'm here to help you shift your consciousness, if that's what you want to do, because it's something that I'm passionate about. And I genuinely don't want to see you stood heartbroken at the platform because your train just pulled out and you weren't on it. So, come on. If you know that you're here for more, if you are here to make a difference, if you are meant to be a leader in our New Earth timeline, then you really have to sit down and get your inner work done. Stop floating in all the woo. As much as I love the woo as well, some of it is woefully falling short when it comes to actually awakening people to higher levels. Now, if you've been doing spiritual circles for years, reading all the books, doing all the cards and the ceremony and the crystals and all the lovely stuff that I've played with too over the years, I understand it. I'm not saying, it's all terrible. But my question to you is, if you're still feeling stuck and you've been doing all of that or dabbling, but if you're still feeling stuck and you're not really getting ahead and you are thinking to yourself, oh, something's missing here, I'm falling short here, please pay attention to that, because that's your higher self, your inner voice, your soul, whatever you want to call that it is saying to you, something's not quite working here. I'm not where I really feel I want to be. Maybe you feel a little bit stuck. Pay attention to that. Benji's leaving. He's had enough. He's like, Mom. If you're feeling stuck, if you're not where you want to be, if you know that you're meant to be stepping up as a teacher, as a leader, but if you're not there, then maybe you've been on a false ascension timeline. And maybe you need to realize that now, because that timeline is not safe and effective either, I can promise you. So, some hard-hitting truths for you today, probably every time actually, because I'm always a bit like that. But honestly, I'm not going to stroke your ego and sugarcoat things and keep you in la-la land. If you tell me that you're ready to step up and you want to take it to the next level, step into your soul purpose, really get into your highest timeline experience. If you're saying that to me, then I'm here to help you, because that's all that I'm about. Helping you shift into your highest timeline. So if you're ready to reach these new heights for yourself, let go of all the heaviness that holds you stuck and heavy and low in frequency. If you're ready to step up, reach out to me, let's talk, and let's get you moving. Because, as I said, I don't want you to be stood on the station platform, and your favourite train has moved out without you. So reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, Karen Antara, Energy Coach. My website is karenantara.org. Reach out or put a comment below this video or wherever you're seeing it, and let's get the work done, because I honestly believe this choice point, well, we've waited so long for it. Let's not waste it. Let's really jump on board and get into the fullness and the magnificence of who you truly are. I'll see you on my next video. Bye-bye.